Our next story is one of unbelievable forgiveness. Take a look at this image. At first glance, it looks like two people who are close friends, but what is truly remarkable in this photo is the man in it murdered the woman's father nearly 40 years ago, and both are here to tell their story. Joining us in studio is Margot Van Slyckman, whose father was killed, and joining us from Mission, BC, is Glenn Flett, the man convicted for that murder. Thank you both for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Margot, I want to start with you. Your father was shot and killed in 1978 in a store robbery. He was, in fact, trying to stop thieves when he was killed. What was it like to grow up without your dad?
Incredibly painful. Incredibly painful. Our life changed. We are immigrants to this country. We came from Guyana, South America, for a safe life and a better life. And after my father was killed, his name is Theodore. After Theodore was killed, life was heinous and ugly and very painful.
At 18, you were 16 at the time. At 18, yes. You tried to commit suicide. You went through a very dark period. Yes. How was writing instrumental in bringing you out of that dark place?
It saved my life. I was able to write my pain, my sorrow, my confusion, my ennui, my anger, everything. I simply found a way to vomit on the page, if you will, and it was liberating in many ways.
Glenn, I want to bring you into this conversation. When you hear Margot describe what it was like to grow up without her dad, all the pain, the darkness, how does that make you feel all these years later?
Well, not good, that's for sure. I live with that. I kind of knew that would be happening before I heard it from Margot personally, but it does bother me, and it always has. I caused so much pain to her family.
Margot, I want to bring people up to speed on your story. So because of your writing, years later, you are being offered an award. And so somebody made a donation, and when you saw the name on the check and it matched that of Glenn Flett, what was your reaction?
I was really, really moved and nervous and excited because I saw it was Glenn's wife, Sherry, very beautiful and wonderful person, but she had sent sent a donation to my press, and I saw Sherry Edmonds Flett, and when I saw it, I just thought, oh my God, because although I have been doing therapeutic writing for a long time, I never told people why I did that. I never said it was because one day my beautiful, wonderful dad was murdered. And when I saw the name, I just thought, oh my God. You know, I felt, again, a bit of relief because I thought, finally, now the reason why I do this work and the reason, I suppose, why I received that award for my therapeutic writing was to eventually lead to this moment. And I was grateful.
But you didn't sit in that moment of recognition. You, in fact, followed through. You reached out. Yes. You contacted them, and you eventually connect with Glenn. So the two of you first met back in 2007. Tell us about that face-to-face meeting, and what did you ask him?
It was an astounding meeting, and it's funny because, you know, we are speaking with you now, Anne-Marie, but I had said to Glenn, I want to meet you, but I want to meet you alone. I don't want media, I just want to look into your eyes. It was very important for me to know my father's last words. That was extremely important to me. And Glenn gave me a gift in telling me what my dad said. And would you like to hear what my dad said to Glenn? He said, your dad, he took me by the shoulders and he didn't swear at me, and I'm quite capable of swearing. He didn't swear at me, he didn't kick me. He said to me, give it up, son, it's not worth it. And hearing that was and still and will always be very beautiful for me. That is the legacy of my father. Give it up, son, it's not worth it.
Margot, not only did you ask for his last words, but you also asked to see how your father was killed. Why did you do that?
I wanted to feel what it was like. We met at Westminster Abbey in BC, and I just wanted to have that feeling, that sense of, you know, I just said to Glenn, show me what happened. And so he took me by the shoulders, and I just wanted to have that visceral sense of what it felt like. And it took, I will say this, it took a lot of courage for Glenn to accept that, because for him that would be pretty major, but he did it.
Glenn, your reaction when Margot made the request to meet with you, were you nervous at all? Were you worried about what she would ask you?
Not what she would ask me, but she didn't want to cause her any more pain or harm than I'd already caused. So I was concerned about that. But I was also very excited. I mean, since about 1982, I sort of prayed that I would have an opportunity to say I was a story. So it's kind of a dream come true at some point.
Nearly 40 years, Glenn, you've lived with that decision that you made on that day. How have you since turned your life around? How have you found not only healing, but forgiveness and move forward?
Well, I became a Christian in 1982, and that changed the way I looked at the world. And while I was in prison, I started to contribute to my community, the prison community. And when I got out, I was asked by the Corrections Service to start a support group in the community because I'd done quite well in prison helping people. So that was in 1992. And I've been doing that ever since, really. We started working with victims as well as offenders in about 1995. And that gave me some solace. It was kind of like I was, there were surrogate victims. I was able to tell people that had been harmed by murder, serious crime, that I was sorry, and I showed them by, my act, trying to do anything I could to assist them and getting through their pain. So that's really what we went to. I haven't been to heal, I guess. Yeah, it's not like it'll ever go away.
And I can see that it's both still very emotional for you, decades later, to talk about that one moment. But you have a but, Margot.
There's a but. I'm not crying because there's a paradox. I'm crying because it is always emotional. I will always miss my father every single day. I have 2 daughters and I have 4 grandchildren, and they do not know Theodore. I'm crying because it's so vast. Glenn is an authentic human being, and I know that. I've thought many times perhaps it would be better if I could hate him, but I can't. I've met this person, and from meeting him, I have a whole different understanding of justice, if you will, of humanity, with my Sabona project for sharing justice, I use the word Sabona. It means I see our shared humanity, and Glenn is part of that. I mean, he is a really important person in my life, in this journey with justice. That's why I'm crying. It is big and powerful, and I feel kind of small to carry it. But I'm carrying it for Theodore.
It's an incredible and powerful story. I want to thank you both for being with us on Your Morning today to share it.
A pleasure. Thank you so much.